I would now like to introduce a longtime friend of our community, Todd Lippa, founder and executive director of CARES in Farmington Hills, as this evening's chaplain.
On this day of remembrance, may we honor the lives of those lost on that tragic act of 9/11. May we give thanks for those who served and saved and rendered aid and assisted others.
For all Americans, for all time, the phrase 9/11 will evoke a special meaning, a memory of a moment in our history when the world as we knew it forever changed. It is fitting then that every year on September 11, we Americans join together to honor the memory of more than 3,000 people who died that day, as well as the thousands who have died from illness or cancer linked to their time near or at ground zero.
We remember. Yes, we remember murder, terror, fire, and fear. However, we disgrace this day if that's all we remember. Let us remember courage, grace, and love. Let us remember the amazing bravery of the people who rushed to help those who assisted others out of the fire and ash, and those who used their last minutes on earth to call their families and say, I love you. I love you forever. Let us remember the first responders and firefighters who ran up the stairs knowing they would never come down, and the passengers storming the cockpit with the cry of, let's roll. Let these be our memories.
Receiving this award from the American Legion makes it even more meaningful. For over a century, they have stood as a pillar of support for veterans, active duty service members, and communities across our nation.
The memories of those terrible events are as vivid today as they were when they occurred 23 years ago. Personally, I recall sitting in shock while holding my infant daughter as I watched the second plane strike the second tower. September 11th, 2001 changed our way of life. Our nation lost 2,977 family members and loved ones. And our nation lost its sense of security. Born out of that tragic event was a commitment. Never forget. May we never forget who we lost that day.
I'd like to say that it is a privilege to be recognized by an organization with a mission as honorable as that of the American Legion, especially today when we remember a tragedy that had a tremendous impact on all Americans, especially first responders and members of our military.
23 years ago, last night, 246 people went to sleep in preparation for their morning flights. 2,606 people went to sleep in preparation for their work in the morning. 343 firefighters went to sleep in preparation for their morning shift. 60 police officers went to sleep preparing for their normal morning patrol. 8 paramedics went to bed preparing for their morning rotation. And sadly, none of them would return home to their family or loved ones that night. In an instant, the world changed forever for them and for us.
Today we gather to remember and honor the lives lost on September 11, 2001. On this solemn day, we reflect on the tragedies that struck our nation and the heroism that emerged in its wake.
I will say to you 3 things today. Do not forget. Learn from life. Give back with gratitude. Do not forget. You hear this over and over. We are here today to honor our local heroes and to instill in our community the importance of that historic event 23 years ago. It's so important that we don't forget.